On the same day that a Black Lives Matter inspired terrorist gunned down 5 cops in Dallas, Beyoncé paid tribute to Alton Sterling, the career criminal wannabe gang member sex offender who was shot dead after resisting arrest, trying to grab a cop's taser, and trying to grab his own illegal firearm. Beyoncé has become the celebrity face of Black Lives Matter ever since she decried the killing of Michael Brown, another career criminal wannabe gang member who was shot after he tried to grab a cop's gun. Oh yeah, and he didn't have his hands up. During her Super Bowl performance earlier this year, Queen Bee led out a troupe of all-black dancers wearing Black Panther-type uniforms. Sheriff David Clark compared the performance to a KKK rally. Police organisations across the country called for boycotts, and some refused to work security at her concerts. Because while hating on police, Beyoncé relies on police to clear the highway for her. That's because Beyoncé is a complete hypocrite who hijacks AstroTurf political movements to inflate her already mammoth-sized ego. Do you really think Beyoncé cares about police brutality? Is that why she based an entire performance around fetishizing riot police during the 2010 Grammys? She literally pranced around on stage with dancing riot police, and everyone loved her for it, because 6 years ago, riot police were trendy. But in 2016, hating on police is cool. That's what sells records. That's why Beyoncé has riot cops surrendering in her video for Formation. That's why she promotes urban terrorism in her video for Hold Up. Because black people smashing up their own communities is such a positive message. Remember, this is the woman who Obama called a role model for his daughters. Could it possibly be that Beyoncé doesn't really care about police brutality and is merely jumping on whatever transient bandwagon brings her the most attention and money? Surely not. In the lyrics for Formation, Beyoncé brags about how proud she is of her Jackson 5 Negro nostrils. In fact, Beyoncé is so proud of being black that she bleaches her skin to make herself look as white as possible. Same with Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, and Azealia Banks. Because when white performers attempt to mimic black fashion, it's cultural appropriation. But when black performers attempt to look white, it's just a choice. As Mika Paris points out, with her tumbling blonde hair and increasingly pale skin, Beyoncé is trying to look as Caucasian as possible. Queen Bee is so into her blackness that she's physically trying to get rid of it so she can appeal to a white audience to sell more records. But maybe we can forgive Beyoncé for her Black Lives Matter hypocrisy, given that she's such a proud feminist. Beyoncé is such a huge feminist icon for young women, she refuses to leave the alleged serial cheater Jay-Z, the guy who calls women bitches and hoes in his own lyrics. That couldn't be anything to do with the fact that he's worth over $600 million, right? The pair of them are so obsessed with greed that they're now monetizing their marital breakdown. But Beyoncé really cares about the poor and oppressed, right? That's why sweatshop slaves in Sri Lanka are paid a pittance to make her clothing line for Topshop. Why am I talking about Beyoncé? Because politics is downstream from culture. Millions of young people absorb their outlook on the world by listening to the political opinions of moronic marionette celebrities. And if you think Beyoncé just authentically says anything political without first considering how it's going to impact her bottom line, then you're incredibly naive. You really think Beyoncé, net worth $450 million, is really going to help tear down a status quo that is supposedly oppressing black people? The same status quo that has made her incredibly rich and famous. All this Black Lives Matter virtue signaling. It isn't about empowering black people, it's about keeping them in the ghetto, keeping them embroiled in this thug life gangster culture, this grievance-fueled trap of blaming society for all their problems, this nihilistic Marxist dead-end lifestyle that lectures black people from day one that they can never amount to anything because the system won't allow it, based on this completely fake narrative that black people are being deliberately targeted for murder by racist white cops. A claim completely disproven by the facts. Black people, don't get dragged down by this artificial Black Lives Matter victimhood mindset. Don't wallow in the swamp created by the left. This welfare waste heap designed to keep you dependent, weak, and at the whim of political operatives. At the whim of phony manufactured pop culture icons like Beyoncé, who in reality has so little in common with ordinary black folk that she's literally trying to become white. Fuck this ghetto chic culture that keeps black people down. Fuck Jay-Z. And fuck Beyoncé.
Network.